Hey everybody, Tom here with Hidden Beats, and today we're talking with Genevieve Fisher. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I mean, could be better with some allergies, but it is what it is. That's the summer, springtime for you.
Absolutely. It's that, you know what, though? Kind of good because it means we're getting into the warm weather, but sucks for you. I
Although you
apologize.
you never know with Canada weather. Like we had
Right.
snow 3 days ago or something like that. So
You're right. You're
yeah.
right.
So we're here today to talk about you, about your music, and about just what you do in the world. But for those who are new, can you give a little introduction about yourself?
Yeah, so I was born and raised in London, Ontario, and I now live just out in the country, just outside of London. My husband and I built our house and are raising our sons to be country boys, which I love
Hmm.
and enjoying so much. But yeah, I've been singing my whole life. I started at a really young age. My mom and my grandma entered me into my first singing competition when I was two. And
Okay.
the rest is history. I've been singing ever since and really started to um, do this professionally when I was about maybe 16, 17 years old. Started to actually consider it to be, a profession. So yeah, and then just started traveling to Nashville and started making some great connections down there with songwriting and met my producer down there. I actually met him when I was writing with him, and uh, he was producing, and so I asked him if he would consider taking me on as an artist. And yeah, so
Hmm.
it's been a wild ride.
Yeah, it
It's
sounds
really
like it's been a nice, roller coaster, but everything's fun all the
yeah,
way.
absolutely.
So, who were some of your early musical inspirations, like sounds that you heard that kind of piqued an interest in you?
I mean, number one for sure would be Shania Twain. I
Hmm.
just feel like she's a legend and um, always loved her voice from the get go. And I almost felt like I had a um, similar tone. Like growing up, I used to sing some of her songs in competitions because I felt like, the keys she was singing in were perfect for my voice as well. So, yeah, always looked up to her. Same with like older country, like love Patsy Cline, Brenda Lee, those voices just really stood out to me. And more recently, like I'm a huge Maren Morris fan.
Yeah.
Um, I also been a huge fan of Kelsey Ballerini. So yeah, those are some of my influences over the years.
Nice. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, Shania Twain is by far the pinnacle, really. And I was lucky enough to actually cover one of her concerts at Boots and Hearts, like when she did a couple years
Mhm.
back.
Yeah, yeah. I was there.
Oh, okay. So I do photography on top of this, so I was actually
Okay.
in the pit shooting pictures.
You're lucky.
It was an experience for sure, especially because that was the one where they had the thunderstorm that was rolling through
Yes,
right before her show. Like it was insane.
that was insane.
Hmm.
You're hiding in one of the tents, and we're like, I don't want to leave because I want to see her sing, but this is
Hmm.
scary. Yeah, that was wild.
Yeah, like all of us photographers and media people were hiding in the section there, but like the tents aren't exactly the greatest back there sometimes, so it's like raining
Yeah,
through and flooding everywhere. It was kind of crazy.
yeah, that was crazy. I remember that.
Hmm. So, what would you say makes you a unique sound in the country world?
Oh man, this is that's hard to answer. I
I've
don't
got a
know.
few hard ones for you.
I mean, I definitely feel like I don't know. I would maybe say I have one of those sounds that when you hear my voice, you know it's me singing,
Okay.
if that makes any sense. I just feel like I do have a unique sound. Growing up, it was kind of funny. I was always known as the little girl with the big voice.
Mm.
Um, because I'm petite, I'm like 5 foot nothing, and I guess have a big voice.
Hmm.
Um, this is weird to answer though. I feel uncomfortable.
Well, it makes you
I feel like
think,
I'm
and
pumping my own tires, which feels weird. Um, yeah, I don't know. I just feel like I also have a bit of a sultry sound to my voice.
okay.
Um, yeah, I would
No,
say those are kind of some key points.
and it always is interesting to see what you think, moves you up the dial a bit.
Right. Yeah.
So is there, you talked about Maren Morris, is there any outside country influences that you have that's inspiring some of your sounds now? I know there's a lot of genre, bending with pop, country, rock, all that stuff.
Yeah, oh my gosh. I'm trying to think if there's anybody. Um,
Even maybe just how they put on a show or how or just how they go at what
yeah,
they're doing.
so I'm a huge Old Dominion fan, and I
Okay.
actually saw them in concert in London. Was that last year or the year before? A couple years back, maybe 2 years ago now.
I think
But I
I
went.
actually shot that tour here in Ottawa.
Okay, yeah, Stephen Lee Olsen was on it,
Yeah.
and Sean Austin, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah,
Yeah, that was the same tour I think I hit here.
yeah. So I saw them live, and I loved their show. Loved that they incorporated kind of this like stripped down section of their show.
Hmm.
Um, and I've always known they're great songwriters, but didn't realize like how many songs they've actually written. So they
Yeah,
did
it
like
is
a
kind of weird to think about that after.
yeah, yeah. So I'm a huge Old Dominion fan. Oh my gosh, I almost want to like pull up my like playlist and see what I'm actually listening to. Honestly, okay, right now I'm obsessed with Teddy Swims.
Okay. I actually have a question later on about who's on your playlist, so that kind of worked out really well.
Okay, yeah. So Teddy Swims is like love him. Obviously, I'm a huge like Lainey Wilson fan. Um, Also huge fan of she's one of my like best friends in the industry, but Shantea.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I just and I love Sean Austin. I'm to be honest, I'm like just a fan of so many artists. I feel like I listen to a lot of music, but yeah, those are kind of to name a few.
No, and those are all great names. I've got to see most of them live too, and I
Yeah,
actually had an interview with Shantea at Boots last year, I think it was. So
yeah,
I've got the
it's so
chance to
fun.
sit down and talk with people, and yeah,
Yeah,
it's very fun.
absolutely.
So we are here to talk about some of your music, and you have a
Yeah,
new single. What did I write down? Okay, my writing sucks.
no, that's
Now we're
okay.
talking.
Yeah,
Tell us a story about that one.
for sure. So I'm not a co-writer on the song. It was written by Mackenzie Porter, Stephen Lee Olson, Jason Massey, and Lydia Vaughn.
Okay.
So Jason Massey is my producer. He's based out of Nashville. He's been my producer since 2015. And he actually produced my single Blame It On You, which was the first song that him and I actually wrote together. So we've been working with each other for a number of years. But back in the summer, August of 2023, I'd reached out to him and was like, hey, looking for some radio friendly songs. So if you have anything that you think would be a good fit for me and that you think would sound good on radio, send them my way. So Now We're Talking was one of them.
Hmm.
And I instantly like fell in love with the song. I could relate to it on a the lyrical level, I could really relate to it. It talks about meeting someone in a bar and then kind of the progression of a relationship and falling in love and moving in and getting married and having kids, which are all the things that I've done with my husband. So I actually met him in a bar in London called Cowboys.
Okay.
Um, and the rest is history. We've been together ever since. So yeah, just felt like I could really relate to the song. So I sent my producer a text and I was like, first thing I'm gonna ask is the song up for grabs? And he was like, let me find out from Mackenzie. I'm gonna reach out to her. So Mackenzie had talked to her people and said, yep, it's for the taking. So that's kind of how the song came to land in my hands. And I ended up recording the vocals for it in September. And I was actually about 5, 6-ish months pregnant with my son, Cal, at the time.
Okay.
So kind of a core memory for me. I was in my closet recording the song, 6 months pregnant, feeling a little out of breath
Hmm.
with my big belly. But yeah, so that's kind of how the song came to be, and just super excited that it's now out in the world.
Hmm. So, do you have a different process when you're writing for yourself and or taking in like a song like this one that's not written by you?
Um, yes and no. I feel like when it's a song that I've written, I go into my recording process feeling pretty I don't even want to say prepared, but like I feel comfortable, confident. I know the song. Whereas I find when it's a song that I haven't written, I like to take some time with it, really dive into it, rehearse it a bit, find maybe cool things that I want to do with my voice.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, not too crazy of a difference, but I think when you relate to a song so much, it also makes it easier to record and really get into.
Yeah, when you're writing yourself, you're already thinking about these things of like
Yeah,
how your voice might sound here. But yeah, if
yeah,
if you can take the time and sit with it, it makes sense that you can make it your own a little bit more.
for sure. Absolutely.
Now, this is another hard question for you.
Oh,
Let's
great.
go back to 2017 with Take It On Home.
Oh, yeah.
How do you feel your music has evolved from that point until now with the new release of Now We're Talking?
Oh, man. I mean, I'd like to think that like the sound, the production has stayed pretty steady just because it's the same producer on all my songs. Um, I want to say I've maybe grown as a songwriter since then. In like more recent years, I feel like I've kind of dove into more of like an emotional side of me. I think especially having kids has changed things a little bit for me. Um, but yeah, I definitely think my songwriting has evolved a bit. Um, Mind you, I feel like in the last couple of years I haven't written as much. Just having small kids makes it really hard to
Hmm.
focus on music all the time. Um, but yeah, I mean, 2017 was a huge year for me. Like the fact that I was an indie female artist, no label whatsoever backing me, and had my song hit top 20 was like freaking insane.
Hmm. And you have some
Um,
decent numbers on some of your songs
yeah,
on Spotify and things like that.
yeah. So, I mean, even at country radio, like that was just wild. Yeah, it was like almost a moment for me where I was in shock myself that
Hmm.
had happened. Um, but yeah, definitely like a defining moment in my career. Um, I think just to kind of keep talking about that song and like what it did for me, it was insane, like the shows that I got from that song and whatnot. But I think like the tough part though was like keeping that momentum as an indie artist. I feel like
Hmm.
I did a pretty good job, but like I haven't had a song ever do that well. Still had great success like You Me We hit top 50. I've had several top 50 songs, which is also incredible. But yeah, that one takes the cake. But I definitely feel like I've grown as a songwriter since then. I feel like my show has improved since then. Um, yeah, just, you know, getting older, more experience.
Hmm. It
Yeah.
makes sense. I mean, life happens. You have kids. I
Yeah.
myself have a year and a half old daughter that keeps me
Oh my
insanely
God.
busy, and another one on the
Thank
way
you.
actually. So
Congratulations. Do you know what you're having?
not yet. We're just before that
Okay.
stage right now.
Okay. Congratulations.
I told my wife it has to be a boy just because.
Well, I thought that my second had to be a girl because I had already had a boy,
Hmm.
and I was graced with another boy.
I'm sure if it happens, if I get
Yeah,
another girl, it can be. I'm a pretty good girl dad, I think. So.
my dad's a girl dad, and he loves it. He said he would have had another girl if he could have, but
Hmm. So outside of music, you have your family, obviously, but what else keeps you grounded and kind of centered in the world?
yeah, I mean, I used to love working out, but busy with kids makes it hard. But I love going for hikes. Um, we have a basset hound. She's quite lazy, but she also enjoys going for walks. So that's kind of like my go-to thing to like unwind and just relax is go for a good hike. I also love food and I love to cook. So cooking some good food for friends and family is on the top of my list.
Hmm.
I also love wine,
Okay.
having a nice glass of wine here and there. But yeah, I'm a pretty low key person when it comes to like my private life and my at home life. I'm definitely a homebody. Love to just be home and yeah, enjoy the
Have-
simple things in life.
hmm. Now, speaking of wine, I interviewed Sam Roberts not too long ago, and he's also a wine connoisseur, and I asked him a recommendation for wine. So
Okay.
I'm curious of a good recommendation that you might have for people.
So one of my favorite white wines is a Riesling, and it's Inniskillen.
Okay.
And then I love Naomi is a red wine that I really love. Um, kind of any they have like kind of a one that's like a blend. I think they have a Pinot Noir. Anyways, they're all good. But those are kind of two of my recommendations.
I'm not much of a wine drinker myself, but I know there's a few people that watch these interviews that actually really enjoy wine. So whenever I get the chance, I
Nice.
throw those out there for them.
Well, those are my two recommendations. I'm
Okay.
I'm also a well, not as much anymore since having kids, but I actually considered myself to be like a Caesar connoisseur.
Oh, okay.
Love Caesars. I feel like I can like decipher just by looking at a Caesar if it's going to be good or not.
Okay, that's a pretty unique skill set right there.
If it's too light in color, I know it's probably going to be mediocre.
Okay. I've
That's
never
me.
even thought about that, like how that would work. But yeah, I mean,
Anyways, that's just I like loved Caesars. I'm not as like huge on them anymore. Man, pregnancy changes things. I'm telling you.
hmm.
Bitter.
I mean, I've experienced that and I'm personally not even been pregnant, so
I love that.
hmm.
Has your wife craved anything specific?
Not specific, but it's just random stuff all the
Yeah,
time. It seems like it's like, oh, I want this, and
that was me.
yeah, one day it was just like tacos at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I was like, well, I can't really make you tacos. We don't have this stuff for tacos.
I need it now. That
Hmm.
is hilarious.
There's been a few of those where it's like the nausea subsides, and then it's like, let's go get
Yes,
this type of food specifically, and then it's like, okay, well,
it's time to eat. Yes.
mhm. I think like slushies from like
Oh,
7-Eleven or something like that have always been her go-to when she needs something. So
yeah,
that's been the good one for me, anyways.
yeah, for sure.
All right, so we're come to the point where I do like to ask a couple of fun questions, not exactly in the music realm.
Okay.
This one is another hard one for you, and it's my favorite
Okay.
one. What's one thing you think should be asked more in interviews that's not asked enough?
I don't even know. I'm trying to think.
Maybe something that you want to hear when you're watching an interview from, your favorite artist that you don't know
Yeah.
about.
Oh my gosh, this might be the hardest question I've ever been asked in an interview.
Hmm.
Oh my gosh. I don't even know. Maybe like when it comes to say if it's something like not music related, maybe like some restaurant recommendations
Okay.
for certain places.
Yeah.
Um, I don't even know. This is like I don't know.
You didn't think you'd have to think this much on this one, did you?
No, I didn't.
Well, that shows that I'm at least making it worthwhile for you.
100%.
Hmm.
Oh my gosh. I don't know. Maybe even like questions about like growing up, maybe? Like, I don't know. But I feel like that's probably been asked.
Well, if you look at just this interview today, you've already gone over some of your growing up
Oh,
points and without even me having to ask that question.
you're so right.
Hmm. It's one of those ones. This one makes everyone think the most. And quite honestly, it helps me. If you come up with a great question, I'm going to add that to my repertoire for sure.
I don't even know.
Well, you'll have to send me a message if you can think of one.
Okay. Okay. Let me think on that.
All right. So next one, we already went over some of your playlist, features that you have, but is there like a guilty pleasure song that not a lot of people would expect you're listening to?
Oh man, what's like I'm like secretly have my phone right here.
Hmm. I've got my
What
phone in my notes right here too, because I look through my playlist sometimes.
guilty pleasure song? Okay, I don't even know, but I love the song Tequila Does by Miranda Lambert, but
Okay.
um I don't know how to pronounce this, but the Telemetry remix. Love it.
Okay. Yeah, I think I've actually seen that one. It's probably I have somewhere here.
Anyways, it's just such a fun song. I love that one. Um, what other ones do I love? Oh, I also am a huge Hardy fan.
Okay.
Like some of his like songs where he goes like hardcore, like almost punk in the
Yeah.
sound, I deep down love.
And he puts on a hell of a show.
Okay, I haven't seen him yet, but I think he's coming to Toronto in June, and
Yeah.
I'm dying to see him live. I
Hmm.
love
Yeah, I
that.
saw him last year at Boots, I think.
Was he so good?
Yeah, it was an experience. And then because where the photo pit and stuff is, at the back end they have that big, the soundboard and all that stuff.
Yeah,
When we were shooting Nickelback that night, he was actually hanging out with us, like just right with us in the photo pit area, just watching the show also. So it was kind of just like, oh wow, here he is. And
that's awesome.
hmm
Another song that I actually cover, and last summer it was my like intro song to my show, is a song called "Blow,"
Okay.
and it's by Ed Sheeran, Chris Stapleton, and Bruno Mars.
hmm
Like a killer song. It's more like rock than anything, but I think it throws people for a loop a little bit. So I
And those are
definitely am
fun.
gonna keep that in my set this
Hmm.
summer for sure.
Nice. Yeah, I like that. Those are fun ones for sure.
Yeah.
Now, as a music fan, what has been your favorite concert you've ever been to?
Okay, this is actually probably gonna come as a surprise.
Okay.
I actually haven't been to a lot of concerts in my life.
Oh wow. Okay. Oh, you know what though? I haven't either. Like as a fan,
Okay, yeah, yeah.
thinking about that, like I've only been to, let's say six, I think. But I've
Okay,
also been doing photography and stuff for 10 years now, so I've been to uh,
for sure.
quite a few shows, but working.
Okay, maybe one of my favorite shows. I actually opened for him, but it was Lee Bryce.
Okay.
He did a show at London Music Hall. I opened for him, and he put on such a good show. I
Mhm.
loved his concert. Um, and after the show, I was like standing side stage or backstage, and he stopped me and he was like, "You were so awesome. You guys got to come back to the bus and hang out with us." So
Mhm.
we actually got to go on his tour bus.
Nice.
Some of my band members came on. My manager came with me and my husband as well. And when we got on his tour bus, the first thing my husband noticed were a bunch of like police patches
Oh, okay.
all on the walls. And we were like, this is so cool. My husband was like, why do you guys have that? And I guess his brother is a cop. And so he goes, every like stop we make, I try to get like a police patch to put it up
Hmm.
um, in the tour bus. And my husband's actually a cop. So he ran to his car and actually ripped one of the patches off of his uniform, and we gave it to him. So I
Nice.
hope it's up in his bus still.
Yeah.
So it was a super memorable show. But I'm a huge Lee Bryce fan as well. So yeah,
Yeah, he does put on a hell of a show. I got to see him here also, and not having heard much, like there's only so many days and or hours in the day I can listen to music. So,
for sure.
sometimes you miss some people, but
Yeah,
Lee was fairly new to me. So when I went out to cover his show, I kind of went, damn, okay, like
yeah,
this is
he's
fun.
unreal. Yeah, I love him.
Hmm. So a couple last questions before we sign off here. And I think these are really important ones to kind of round out everything.
Yep.
What do you hope fans take away from your music?
Oh, a couple things. I hope they like have fun listening to my music. I feel like I have a good like blend of music um in my repertoire. Like I have some really fun songs. I have some super emotional songs. My song Thank You Music, I feel like was a song that really really resonated with fans but also fellow artists. I feel like really related to that song. Talks about the hardships of the music industry and just um kind of the toll it can take on your life, but also just how music in itself like brings you back every time.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I just hope that fans listen to my music and like get comfort out of it and also have fun and can have a drink while they're listening to it. But yeah, I'm really proud of the repertoire and just the music I've created over the years. I feel like I have a great blend of songs. So yeah,
Well, it seems to be working. You're doing well with, fan base and everything, and you're just in that right momentum, that's for sure.
thank you so much.
Why do you want to keep pursuing music? What's your motivation for keep pushing forward?
Well, I feel like now one of my biggest motivations are my kids. I want to show them that they can follow their dreams and make them happen. Um, Another big motivation for me right now is to show like young female artists that they can absolutely have it all. They can have a family and pursue music and be successful if you work hard enough at it. Um, and I think another thing is just myself, proving to myself I've done this my whole life and I want to keep motivating myself to still just do something that I truly love and enjoy.
Hmm.
Yeah.
No, I think there's some very good reasons.
Yeah. Thank you.
Last but not least, are you happy?
Wow. That's like a powerful last question.
Hmm.
Um, yes. I I feel like in this moment, yes, I'm very happy in this moment, but in all honesty, I've had a lot of moments in the last few years where no, definitely not. I really struggled um, after I had my first son. About a year after, um, I had a rough couple of months. Um, just not even with being a mom. I think just with the industry itself too. I was feeling really down about just where I was at with my music and feeling defeated with how the industry was going.
Hmm.
Um, because when I first started, like back my song July, which I released in 2011, the industry was very different back then. And to see like the shift and the changes over the years, I think has almost been like hard for me. It's almost been like a grieving
Hmm. I can see
process for
that. Yeah.
me. And just like the use of social media, like I'm not a huge social media person. Because when I first started, it wasn't kind of the be all end all. So I've
Hmm.
struggled with that a bit. Um, but yeah, I think it's so easy to start getting down on yourself and comparing yourself to others. And I think now my mindset has really shifted where I genuinely feel like, yes, I'm doing this for fans and writing music and releasing songs for fans. But I think like the biggest part of my happiness is that I'm doing a lot of it for myself. And I think that that really shows. And I hope that my fans can recognize that. And I think that they can, I don't know, resonate with it as well.
Hmm.
But yeah, I'm very happy right now. Yeah,
And I think happiness is a journey. You're always working at being happy. It's not just
100%.
an everyday thing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, that's all the points I have written down here. What's next for you? Just release some music. What's coming up?
Yeah. I mean, the last year I actually have dove into acting. I was
Okay.
in two movies this past year. One was called Country Hearts, and the other one was called Country Hearts Christmas. They were essentially like Hallmark movies.
Hmm.
So I definitely want to kind of continue with the acting a bit. But this year I'm working on an EP album. Not sure yet which route we're
What,
going to go, if it's going to be
yeah.
a full album or an EP, but it's going to consist of songs that kind of touch on different points of my life. So I'm
Okay.
really looking forward to that.
Is there
Yeah,
any
that's
fun shows coming up that people can come check you out at or
yeah. One of the first show I'm doing this summer is July 1st, Canada Day, in Grand Bend, Ontario,
okay.
little beach town. They expect like thousands of people, so I'm really excited for that show.
Nice.
We'll definitely have a really good set in store for people. And I do have some shows at the end of the summer that we haven't announced yet. So, not going to be, I don't think, like a crazy, crazy summer, which is okay with me. I'm easing back into things, being a
Hmm.
new mom. My son's only 3 months old. So, just really enjoying this time with them because I'm never going to get this time back. So,
100%. I know
yeah,
that feeling for sure.
yeah, for sure.
Well, it was delightful getting to pick your brain and kind of just
Ah,
learn more about you. And I hope we get to do this again at some point because it's always
yeah,
nice to catch up with
Tom.
old friends.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed this interview.
And we'll make sure we link like your website and everything in the description so people can find you and keep up with all your releases and shows coming up.
Perfect. Sounds good.
Well, we'll sign off. You enjoy the rest of your day and looking forward to seeing what's coming up for you.
Awesome. Thanks, Tom. You too.
You have a good one.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.